Archery at Santa Anita in Arcadia, California hosts the Breeders' Cup World Championships for the 5th time in its storied history. But TVG has traveled to downtown Los Angeles for a preview of the first day of 2 championship days of racing. We are here at the LA Live Entertainment Complex. Frank Sinatra once said, LA is my lady. And what a beautiful downtown it is. If you have a chance to come to California, you must come to the epicenter of its culture here in downtown Los Angeles. Welcome to our preview show of Ladies' Day. I'm Todd Schrupp alongside Simon Bray, Tom Amos with us, and Paul LaDuca. Behind us is the band from TV. We'll kind of explain that a little bit later. They're playing for the Breeders' Cup party, but guys like James Denton from Desperate Housewives, Bachelor Bob is up there, and they're all pretty good musicians.
They certainly are. This is a sound check for a party that's happening a little later on tonight at ESPN Zone down here in a newly revamped LA Live, courtesy AEG. Behind me is Staples Center. The Kings are playing a game tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. We've got R. Kelly performing at Nokia Theater, and all amidst of that, we've got to break down these Breeders' Cup races for Friday.
So give me some of that doot doot, give me some of that beep beep. Tom and Paulie, how excited are you guys? The Breeders' Cup is upon us.
Very excited. You know, we're one day away for the ladies. They start tomorrow. And Paul, to me, there are some great races on the card tomorrow.
Yeah, I think some good betting choices in, Ventura, I think is going to be the favorite. But I think we can take a shot and beat some other favorites and get some prices. And I think it could be a good payoff. Ladies' Day last year was more favorites. I think this year could be a different story.
I mean, if you look at the Pick 6 sequence on Ladies' Day, I think it's more difficult and has potential to pay better than maybe Saturday's Pick 6 sequence. There are 6 championship races on Ladies' Day, 8 championship races on Saturday. Here are the races we'll be talking about, starting with the Breeders' Cup Marathon, the first championship race offered on the Friday card.
Yeah, it's going to be a fairly formful race, but as the card goes on Friday, I think you're going to see some upsets in the juvenile fillies turf and the juvenile fillies. They appear to be some of the most wide open races on this Friday card.
Simon, are you a Ditto head?
No.
Okay, well, take a look at this. Ditto. Previous Breeders' Cup champions entered this year. It is quite astonishing, the horses coming back that won last year, some in different divisions like Midshipman, obviously can't come back in the juvenile, but look at the defenses on the line.
Yeah, let's break it down. There are 10 returning Breeders' Cup champions, 6 looking to defend their title from last year to this year, and 3 trying to win outside of another division in which they won last year. That 10th horse, of course, is Red Rocks, who won the turf back in 2006.
So many returning winners, including the winner of the marathon, Muhanik. And let's get right into the marathon here. And this new distance, 1 3/4 miles, do we approach it any differently than we did last year?
I think we do. I mean, look, in Europe, horses are bred to run this distance. Quality horses are bred to run this distance, Paul. We don't do that here in the States. The Europeans have a huge advantage in this spot.
Yeah, I think the Europeans had an advantage, obviously, last year. And going into this year with the synthetic, I think by going to 1 3/4 miles, you're 100% right. Those horses are used to running those 2-mile type races. Even though they're 1.5 miles over in Europe, they go up and down hills. It can be more stamina tested. I have to agree with Todd. But as Lee Corso said, not so fast. A long shot will win the Breeders' Cup Marathon.
But are you going to wear a mascot outfit at some time tonight? Let's take a look at the time form ratings for the Breeders' Cup Marathon. So using a European style of handicapping here to separate the field.
Certainly do. And obviously the high weighted or the high rated is Mastery, coming off that win in the St. Ledger Stakes. That's the 3rd leg of the English Triple Crown. I'm surprised that Cloudy's Night is that close behind him, because he comes in off a 2-race win streak. I think you approach this race the same as last year, regardless of the distance, and you just focus in on the Europeans here.
Let's start with Cloudy's Night, because he's interesting from the standpoint. Here's a horse who didn't win a race in 2008. Looked like he was just kind of gone from his form, and now he's 2 for 2 this year at the age of 9.
Well, Cloudy's Night is 2 for 2, and that's with Jonathan Shepard, because anybody in the United States that can get a horse to go this far, it's Jonathan Shepard. He trains a lot of steeplechase horses, Paul. He knows how to do this. You look at how close he's rated in time form to Mastery. That's a surprise to me, because quite frankly, these horses in Europe seem to tower over the Americans, including our best hope, which is Cloudy's Night.
Yeah, and you got to understand, Cloudy's Night isn't a horse that just sort of popped up. 2 years ago, this horse won the Canadian National at Woodbine, got a ton of class. I know he's a 9-year-old gelding, but I'm agreeing with Tom here. This is my pick, and kudos to Jonathan Shepard for leaving Rosemary Homemeister Jr. on this horse. Obviously, he gets along with her, and I think he has a big shot with the 2 speed horses in the race. I think Cloudy's Night is our best shot for the Americans in this race.
Homemeister trying to become the 2nd female rider to win a Breeders' Cup race behind Julie Crone with Half Bridle.
I've followed her since she was an apprentice down in South Florida. She can flat out horseback, so it wouldn't surprise me if she's able to join that esteemed list. Right now, we're looking live to Los Alamitos, race number 1. The sound check continues behind us, and our preview of Ladies' Day, the first of 2 championship days of racing for the Breeders' Cup, will continue right after this race.
Ready to walk in. All in the gate. And away they go. And a perfect start for the favorite Cape Moonlight. 12 gauge to the extreme outside, and also Track Majesty came out running with the leaders. But nobody has the speed of the favorite Cape Moonlight, who's now sprinted 2 lengths clear. Then along the inside is Keon, who's 3 lengths off the lead, and 4 more lengths back to My Reality. 3/4 back to Mom's Medicine Money, and Fabulous Moolah trails. Onto the quarter pole they go, and Cape Moonlight made the easiest of leads for Cesar de Alba, and now kicks on for home. Is 2.5 lengths in front from Track Majesty, who now begins to close in, but Track Majesty is coming under some urging. Keon down along the inside in 12 gauge. And trying to pick it up from far, far back is Fabulous Moolah, but it's Cape Moonlight, who's well clear out here with less than an 8 to go, and drifting out to the middle of the track with Cape Moonlight 5 lengths in front from Track Majesty, and Cape Moonlight coming home the easiest of winners at 1 to 2. Cape Moonlight by about 6. Track Majesty and Keon 2nd and 3rd, and 12 gauge and Fabulous Moolah in a photo for 4th.
We'll continue to monitor the racing action at Los Alamitos, but let's continue our conversation now about the first championship race of the Breeders' Cup World Championships. That is the marathon. We just talked about an American Hope and Cloudy's Night, but obviously the Europeans come here not only with horses capable, but horses with good resumes like Mastery.
There's no question. He's a 3-year-old. He's proven at the distance. He was 3rd in the Queen's Vase at 2 miles. He's come back and won the 3rd leg of the English Triple Crown. Guineas at 1 mile, the Derby at 1.5 miles, and in the St. Leger Stakes. That victory in his last race makes this horse a legitimate favorite and one of the most probable winners for the Europeans on the card.
Wasn't this the race that Conduit used before winning the Breeders' Cup Turf last year?
That's exactly right, Todd Trump. And this is no Breeders' Cup Turf field he's facing here, right?
Exactly. How about, is there any hesitation, Tom, from a trainer's perspective, playing a 3-year-old against older horses?
Well, I think in this kind of race, it all boils down to pedigree here. And when you look at Mastery, he's got it. This race you're looking at, the St. Leger, is basically the same distance of the race tomorrow. And he's one of the few that's done this in a high-caliber race. We're talking about a Grade 1 type stake. And by the way, a lot of these Europeans, including Mastery, are going to get Lasix for the first time. That has always been a big play. Horses overseas coming to the States and getting Lasix for the first time. It usually is a move-up.
And Father Time was also in that race as well, the other 3-year-old coming over from Europe. He was about 7 to 1 and just didn't run his race that day. There's reason to think he can improve.
Yeah, you know, sometimes these horses that sort of bounced last time, I'm just worried about Mastery a little bit because that's the best race that he's ever run. I know he's lightly raced and he's a 3-year-old, but he's only had 8 starts. So you can take it 2 different ways. Is he going to bounce or is he going to keep moving forward? So to me, he's got that grinding type of action. And to me, on the synthetic, he might be a little bit better on turf than on synthetic for me.
And by the way, he's had that 1 synthetic start, no good. Didn't run well in the synthetic in his 1 start.
All right, Tom, we're going to start with you. Bottom line to this race and a strategy.
Well, I'm going to go with Mastery. I think the Europeans are the horses here, so I'm actually giving my strategy as I talk about them. Look, throw out the Americans. They're no good. Not compared to the Europeans. The Europeans are top-notch. They're bred to do this. The Americans aren't. The American horses get to these kind of distance by accident. So I want the Europeans, and I want that Dave Weaver, cold exacta, 5-6, punch it, and punch it.